Today in Cannabis News, a major Maryland State House panel approves a Senate-passed funding proposal that would provide vast sums of money to accomplish statewide cannabis legalization. A New Hampshire State House panel adopts an altered iteration of a proposal to establish a state-controlled recreational cannabis industry, and Rwanda joins several countries in Africa in initiating legislative restructuring to begin cultivating and exporting medical cannabis. It's Wednesday, March 23rd, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, a major Maryland State House panel has approved a Senate-passed funding proposal, including additional changes that would provide vast sums of money to accomplish statewide cannabis legalization, with the goal of enacting the legislation later this year. The Maryland House Appropriations Committee approved the modified proposal, which would offer $52 million to help with legalizing cannabis, expunging earlier cannabis offenses, and funding a disproportionality analysis to help comprehend the impediments to joining the cannabis industry. This occurs just weeks following the whole House of Delegates approving different proposals to place statewide cannabis legalization on the November 2022 ballot and establish preliminary guidelines if voters pass the legislation later this year. The total funds suggested by the Appropriations Committee for cannabis legalization are conditional on the passage of the proposal put before voters. Next up, a State House panel in New Hampshire adopted an altered iteration of a proposal to establish a state-controlled recreational cannabis industry, advancing it to the entire House chamber for another floor vote. The bill had passed the floor earlier this month. However, since it contains commercial provisions, it had to go through the Ways and Means Committee prior to it being brought again to the chamber. It will be sent to the state Senate if the House approves the revised version. Though campaigners have long advocated for the repeal of cannabis prohibition and the establishment of a controlled industry in the state, the prospect of establishing the U.S.'s first state-operated cannabis sector has raised concerns among a number of interested parties. Several proponents commend elements of an amendment approved unanimously prior to the vote, including the removal of a planned limit of 15 permits for privately run production companies that would distribute to the state-operated dispensaries. Specialists from the state's existing medical cannabis sector, however, claim that policymakers are progressing legislative changes that will have a major effect on their industry longevity. Last up, Rwanda has followed several countries in Africa, such as Lesotho, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, in initiating cannabis legislative restructuring that will result in cultivation in the near future. The Rwandan government has set aside 134 hectares for cannabis cultivation, according to the New Times. Last year, Rwandan officials formally exhibited their desire to begin cultivating and exporting medical cannabis. A ministerial order was issued in June 2021 to this purpose, establishing a structure for the ethical and safe production, manufacturing, transporting, and consumption of cannabis nationwide. Efforts have been made in the months following to get up and running, including government authorities designating a particular location for cannabis cultivation, which is in the process of being developed, as per details provided to the New Times by the Rwanda Development Board. The cannabis grown in Rwanda will be used solely for exporting. The United States of America, Canada, and Europe are the three largest regions under consideration. In Rwanda, it is still prohibited to consume cannabis items recreationally. Illicit cannabis cultivation, sale, and usage are all punishable throughout the nation. That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com. And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech in Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation, wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm RJ Balde, signing off.